I see it playing out. Let's say I see it starting off slow.
Okay.
And then I see as Shakur wins the first round, as Shakur wins the second round, slowly, I think Tio is going to eventually start picking it up and start imposing his will.
Right.
I think it's really that time for him to really take his first loss and, me whoop his ass to the point where either he quits on the stool or I knock him out. How I see this fight being played out is with me pretty much setting that momentum for the people out there as well. Not really trying to force for it. However, I can't be too technical with Shakur. You got to make it a little ugly.
Everyone thinks they know how Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez will go. Shakur's slickness beating Teofimo's explosiveness. But Keyshawn Davis, who knows both fighters well, says that narrative is wrong. He's predicting a brutal fight that goes beyond the scorecards, based on things fans haven't seen. And while the spotlight stays on lightweight, Davis also revealed a career plan so bold it sounds crazy, unless he actually pulls it off.
I feel I can really do whatever I want to do, and I know what I want to do after I beat Jermaine. I want to go to 147 and get a 147 title.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Keyshawn Davis broke down the fight without bias, and his take should worry Team Stevenson. He expects Shakur to start fast, controlling the pace and taking the early rounds with his usual sharp, frustrating precision. But Davis says that won't last. Unlike others, Teofimo Lopez won't fade. As the fight goes on, Davis believes Teofimo will wake up and begin imposing his will.
Bracket fight. In other words, they're jumping to it, but at the end of the era, it may have been Teo and Shakur, especially if you would never fight Shakur, right? How do you see this fight playing out?
I see it playing out, let's say, I see it starting off slow.
Okay.
And then I see as Shakur wins the first round, as Shakur wins the second round, slowly, I think Tio is going to eventually start picking it up and start imposing his will.
Right.
And then, it's just going to go from there. That's how I think it's going to go.
That's a fair assessment.
That's a fair one.
Especially for that to be his brother.
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than what people think.
Teo was
very
good.
Hey, one thing I can say, though, because, I've been seeing, we've been amateur together and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Tio can fight.
I'm telling you that. Tio can fight.
Winning back
if you said he couldn't, you'd be lying.
Right. That's a real assessment, though. I think Shakur still wins, but it's going to be closer than what people think.
Teo is nice. A lot, man, no doubt.
Yeah, and Keyshawn speaks.
Most analysts think if Shakur wins early, he cruises to a dull decision, but Keyshawn Davis says that's wrong. He believes Teofimo will drag Shakur into a gritty mid-round dogfight, turning it into a real battle. Davis warned that Teofimo can truly fight, and that Shakur can't ignore his power or ability to disrupt a plan. While he still picks Shakur to win, this isn't a shutout. It's a survival test against a man who won't quit. And there's one huge X-factor left, stemming from a private conversation Keyshawn had with Teofimo that raises serious red flags.
Teofimo knock out Shakur? No. Can Tio adjust to the point where he beats Shakur? Yeah. You don't see how? Shakur hates slick and economic boxers. So does Tio. They both hate what each other are. Shakur looks great against volume punchers. De Los Santos sitting back and not being active, Shakur doesn't look good. That's when they say he's boring. The thing is, Teofimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. He beat Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. How did he beat Lomachenko? By being patient. Y'all sleeping on Tio. And it's at 140. Now, the thing what's wrong with Tio is Tio also looks good as a counter puncher when you are a volume puncher too. Another thing is Tio looks very great when he's dialed in. He fights more athletic than Shakur. Shakur fights far more technically sound, and he's a more gifted fighter skill-wise. I'm leaning towards Shakur.
Davis also revealed a behind-the-scenes moment that should concern Teofimo Lopez fans. During a private FaceTime call, Davis sensed that Teofimo's mindset was elsewhere. He wasn't talking about solving Shakur's defense, unifying titles, or building legacy. Instead, his focus was locked on another name, Jaron Boots Ennis. It's a stunning revelation. One of boxing's biggest stars seemingly looking past the sport's most dangerous technician to chase a welterweight boogeyman.
You've been vocal about your desire to fight Teofimo Lopez. And of course, I was there in Las Vegas, right, when you FaceTime Tio. Now Tio's fighting Shakur Stevenson. But do we see Keyshawn and Tio at some point?
How was Tio acting when I FaceTimed him? Since you brought it up, how was he acting?
You tell me. You tell the people.
Why do I gotta tell you?
You gotta tell him anyway.
Right.
How was he acting? How was he acting?
Hey, all I'm gonna say is he was not motivated.
Right.
He kept saying he wanted
Hey, but
boots.
look,
He kept saying he wanted boots.
That lack of focus could be fatal. If Teofimo enters a chess match with Shakur Stevenson while mentally preparing for a war with Boots, he's walking straight into a trap. Keyshawn Davis sensed that distraction clearly and questioned whether Teofimo truly has the mental hunger to chase Shakur for 12 demanding rounds, noting that looking past an opponent often leads to disaster. Davis also made it clear he will never fight Shakur himself. Despite fan demand, he shut the door completely, explaining that their bond goes deeper than boxing. When Davis was at his lowest, it was Shakur who supported him, and to Keyshawn, challenging him would be a betrayal. He sees lightweight as Shakur's kingdom and has no intention of staging a coup.
Without him, I wouldn't be here right now neither. And let's talk about Shakur, because y'all just keep riding his wave about us not fighting. Back then, I was telling y'all how I was going through all that mental home stuff, and he the one that was calling me. And now, from this June situation, like two points of my lowest times, he was there.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
This
right.
time, y'all actually got to witness. So, like, y'all keep talking about me and him fighting, bro. I would never fight Shakur, man. Like, y'all just need to kill that, for real.
Feel that.
But Shakur was one person I reached out to, like, on that level, and he just giving me game. Y'all already know how we rock. Adrian Broner reached out to me.
AB, yeah.
Giving me game. Hey, shouts out Southside. Southside, to the producer. Southside reaching out to me, like, yo, get back in the... Chance the Rapper reached out to me. Shoot, I gotta go through the DMs. Like, a lot of people, surprisingly, who was just like, hey, Sauce Walker reached out to me. A lot of people surprisingly was just like, yo, get back, we miss you. You know, so hey, shouts out to y'all, man, for real. Shouts out Jay Prince, you know.
People remember who encouraged them when they were low,
hard times,
right? When you're going through the
Yes.
hard times,
Yes.
you remember who
That's real.
maybe even just gave you a word of advice. So I know you're not going to fight Shakur. Would you ever fight Shakur? No, I'm just kidding.
The top of the 135 and 140 divisions effectively blocked by his closest ally, Keyshawn Davis revealed a shocking next move. He isn't waiting around at 140 for a title shot. Instead, he plans to jump straight to 147 pounds immediately after his next fight. It's a risky decision, as most fighters take years to adjust to a new weight. But Davis wants no warm-up. His plan is simple: beat Jermaine Ortiz, then go straight into the welterweight division hunting for a world title.
Left standing, they'd have had to. The Klitschko's never fought. They were brothers, right? Even when they ran the division. But if Shakur beats Teo, and he is favored to do so, he's the 140-pound champ. And if he stays there for a minute, and that's your division, when the dust settles, if you two are the best dudes, what are you going to do?
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you like this, Max. Look, I'm 26 years old. I see the boxing landscape. I understand Shakur will be 140 champ, and that's my division. I feel like boxing is my division. I feel like I can really do whatever I want to do, and I know what I want to do after I beat Jermaine. I want to go to 147 and get a 147 title.
Oh, okay. There it is. They're going to secret who he's waiting for.
Businessman, baby.
Keyshawn Davis is supremely confident, claiming fighters from 140 to 147 lbs can't beat him, and promising to stop bigger men. He plans to skip the usual climb and go straight for welterweight glory. But first, he has unfinished business with a rival he says fumbled the bag.
I mean, you tell me why, avoid a Keyshawn Davis fight. If you are Richardson Hitchens, I mean, don't you think that's right?
No. I wouldn't say avoid a Keyshawn Davis fight. No, I wouldn't say avoid a Keyshawn Davis fight. But I don't know how more realistic that is. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how realistic that is, you know what I mean? And actually, when you get a guy like that, if he was so interested, he'd have been calling Keyshawn out. You know what I mean? If he was more interested, Richard Hitchens trying to, he wants to be a famous fighter. He wants to, he wants all those things, I believe. So, you know what I'm saying? That was the right way to get it. If Keyshawn saying something, if they just threw it in the air, hell yeah, I'm going with Keyshawn. I couldn't get T.O. or the other ones, you know what I mean? So Keyshawn is right up there, so that's if I'm Richard Hitchens, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, you know what I mean, how much he had, because you know what I'm saying, he ain't calling for it. I haven't heard no more really about it for real.
Maybe they're framing that fight to be a unification, with Keyshawn. I know Shakur said something about, that's he's going to drop the belt eventually. It'll be Keyshawn's belt. Keyshawn number one in the WBO. Maybe a unification makes more sense.
Hey, listen, man, fuck all that. Let's get to the fights. The fights make sense. The fight is a good fight. And I just seen a thing where Keyshawn was talking about he don't care about being undisputed. I just seen him on some platform where he said he don't care about being undisputed. So forget it. You know what I mean? Just don't worry about that. I wouldn't put that much in it then based off what he said. You know what I'm saying? And who doesn't want to be champ? You know what I mean? And they've been having a little rivalry. They've been having a little, back and forth or whatever, however it is, some kind of thing between them. You know what I'm saying? But plus, more than that, they good fighters. Let's fight. Plus, I'm fighting at a higher weight. I feel more comfortable, and at the same time, I want more respectability in the sport. So why not fight a young Richard Hitchens who can box his ass off at the same time? You know what I mean? So who's more of my size? Who's more? I really don't have a size advantage against Keyshawn. Doesn't really have a size advantage again, and you know what I'm saying? Still undefeated. Again, that make a big factor on your mentality, and he's a world champion now. So, it might be a tough out for the kid, which would say a lot about Richard Hitchens to take on Keyshawn Davis in a first title defense. But you know what I'm saying? If you think you all that, then it's really not that hard. You know what I mean? Really shouldn't be out of the question.
Right.
The name Richardson Hitchens clearly gets under Keyshawn Davis's skin. He won't even call him by his full name, only Africa, dripping with disdain. This goes beyond banter. It's personal. Davis accuses Hitchens of overhyping himself without the resume and disrespecting fighters who are actually earning their place. The real anger stems from a failed fight deal. Davis claims he signed a contract to face Hitchens on January 31st on December 22nd, ready to settle things in the ring. But the next morning, instead of a signed counteroffer, Hitchens was busy arguing on Twitter.